The SUV and kind of pushed through the crowds. His security detail was leading him through. And next thing I know, he's on top of the SUV. And I turned to Ben Brofman, who was my co-counsel, and Ben's response was, if we don't get this under control, next thing you know, he's going to show up in his pajamas.
Tonight, is that a pajama party? No way. It's Michael Jackson and his entourage showing up over an hour late to court and wearing his pajamas.
We called it Pajama Drama Day. And I remember walking in and I said to him, Mr. Jackson, are you okay? And he just looked over at me, sort of over my head. And I thought, wow, he must be on some sort of pain medication.
This is an incredible showdown between this 15-year-old boy and this world-renowned pop star.
Did not appear to me to be a case that should have ever reached the criminal justice system.
We, the jury in the above entitled case, find the defendant not guilty.
Michael Jackson will be walking out of this courtroom a free man.
He was found not guilty, but in the court of public opinion, he was never really vindicated.
He quickly disappeared from America, went overseas, and we didn't see him for a long time.
He was deeply in debt. He owed people money all over the place to the tune of $400 million. And that's what really fueled his drug addiction. So that's why I made my prediction. Unless Michael got people around him who genuinely had his best interests at heart, he was a house of cards. He was going to die.
When Michael Jackson announced at that famous news conference that this is a residency at the O2, that day, that morning, was a train wreck.
Welcome back to Showbiz Tonight. I'm AJ Hammer in New York. Tonight, Michael's big return. Yes, the one-time king of pop came face-to-face with his fans today to announce his big return to the stage.
In 2009, plans were put in place for Michael Jackson to make a comeback tour. Now, this was going to be done at the O2 venue in London, a venue owned by AEG, who were the promoters behind the concerts.
Michael Jackson had several motivations. One of them, of course, was money. He was desperately in need of cash flow. But another was reputation and legacy. He knew that Prince held the record for the most shows in a residency at O2, and he wanted to break that. Initially, they announced 10. Eventually, they announced 50 shows, and that would have set a record.
The concert series is being called This Is It. Atika, are we buying that? Is this it for Michael Jackson on stage?
It doesn't seem like this is the absolute last chance to see Michael Jackson live, but then again, you never know.
When Michael Jackson announced at that famous news conference that this is a residency at the O2, that day, that morning, was a train wreck.
Earlier that day, Randy Phillips, who was part of the AEG live team putting on the performance, was holed up in a hotel with Michael Jackson.
Phillips said that Michael appeared to be drunk. He couldn't get dressed. He couldn't go. He couldn't hardly speak. Phillips acknowledges that he physically slapped Michael in order to get him to snap out of it, and he threw him in the shower. This is the king of pop being thrown into a shower in order to go and sober up.
When they got to the O2, Michael Jackson appeared somewhat shambolic, in a haze, not really knowing where he was, what he was doing. It was very much ad-libbed. A lot of cases, I love yous, I'll be back. This is it. This is the last time.
This is it.
And then he was gone.
And there we go. Thank you very much. much one more time, ladies and gentlemen, the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. Was that weird for you too?
4 minutes it lasted, and he was gone, leaving the stunned host, Dermot O'Leary, to announce that the tickets for 10 shows, and remember, it was 10 shows, would go on sale, and the date of sale, Friday the 13th.
Kai Chase joins us, personal chef to Michael Jackson during the final months of his life. Would you say, just from observation, that he looked in good health, except for a little tired from rehearsing?
And he looked very well to me in April. Yes, he did.
Did he ever have any health complaints?
No, never anything like that. I remember one day, the third day I was there, when he came back, he had told me, they're killing me. They're killing me because I'm working too much.
Problem was Michael Jackson had to be in shape and had to be ready. He had to be fit. He had to be psychologically ready. Michael Jackson made one demand. I want a doctor.
In 2006, Michael Jackson was in Las Vegas, and his children weren't particularly well, suffering from a bit of influenza. So naturally, he needed a doctor, or he wanted a doctor to look over them. The doctor that turned up that night was Dr. Conrad Murray.
What do we know about Dr. Conrad Murray? Cardiologist, offices he had in Las Vegas and Houston.
He was struggling financially in many ways. He had 4 children by 3 separate women outside his marriage, and he was supporting all those children.
I guess through his interactions with Dr. Murray, Michael Jackson said, "You should be my personal doctor," and then influenced AEG to hire him to do the This Is It tour, even though AEG didn't want him to be hired.
I said, "It's crazy to take a doctor with us because you're in London." He said, "You don't understand. My body is the machine that fuels this entire business venture, and I'm like Barack Obama. I need my own physician on the road." And he was so strong about it that I just backed off and said, "This is a battle I can't win."
What the world didn't know at the time, but later came out in trial, is that primarily what he was looking for was to get sleep, which he desperately needed, and had trouble sleeping for years prior to that. Shortly after being hired by Michael Jackson, Conrad Murray started ordering massive shipments of propofol to an acquaintance's home in California. He actually told the pharmacist who he was ordering from that he had a clinic in California that he was using all this propofol for. But as far as we know, it was all meant for one person, Michael Jackson.
He was addicted to propofol, which is a drug that really should be administered only in a hospital setting, not in a residential setting.
Or is an anesthetic. When you have surgery, usually light surgery, it's the anesthetic they use to put you to sleep.
The Jackson-Murray fit was perfect for both of them. Murray was providing Jackson with the drugs he needed. Jackson was providing Murray with the money he needed. What's interesting about Dr. Conrad Murray is AEG Live seemed not to have vetted him prior to engaging his services. In fact, Paul Gongwe of AEG Live said they often hired people based on the artist's recommendation. What's interesting about Paul Gongwe is he also worked with Elvis in 1977 when Elvis Presley died of a drug overdose. Perhaps if anyone should have seen the warning signs, it should have been Paul Gongwe.
Michael Jackson was so stressed out about the possibility of not being ready, not being able to perform at the shows in London, that he told his son Prince that they want to kill me.
This is it. I mean, this is really it. This is the final curtain call.
When Michael Jackson announced his first 10 concerts here, one question was asked a lot. Can he do it? Now he's planning 50 shows. But the organizers still insist these fans won't be disappointed.
It appeared to be a ticking time bomb, the whole This Is It tour.
The rehearsals began in Los Angeles. They rented a home for Michael Jackson in Beverly Hills.
In the weeks before he died, they had moved the rehearsals to the Staples Center. a big space, more like the O2 Arena in London.
The truth was, Michael Jackson was having a tough time getting to rehearsal every single day.
He was exhausted. He was losing weight. He didn't sleep. That led to his dependence on painkillers and propofol. He was really a mess. He was in no fit state to do 10 shows, let alone 50.
At one rehearsal, he had chills, and they had to put a blanket around him. He was losing weight. The autopsy showed he was 136 pounds.
Michael Jackson was so stressed out about the possibility of not being ready. He told his son, Prince, that they want to kill me. They're going to kill me. What Michael feared, and the reason he feared it was he had been told this. He said, if you don't make these shows happen, if you don't show up for rehearsal, if you don't get up on that stage, if you don't do these shows, you are ruined. Because the contract Michael had with AEG put it on him. If everything collapsed, it came out of Michael's bank. The last couple of weeks of the rehearsal, I mean, there's security camera video that shows Michael looking like a ghost, dressed in a blanket. I mean, we're talking about June. We found out only years later the propofol infusions that he had been getting for 60 days, almost every night for 2 months, had robbed him of his sleep, because the expert testimony showed that when you are put under on propofol, it may seem like sleep, but there's no REM sleep. There is no documented case of any human going that long without REM sleep.
It was like the old Judy Garland Hollywood days. Instead of saying, stop the production, let's figure out what's wrong with our star, they just let it keep going.
AEG Live were concerned that Michael Jackson was missing a number of rehearsals. So what they did is they held a number of crises meetings at Carroll Mansion with Jackson present, and in fact Dr. Murray present as well. During these meetings, Jackson was read the riot act. He had to get his act together. He had to turn up to rehearsals, and his career was on the line.
Randy Phillips told Conrad Murray, it's your job, you get him there.
Michael had used propofol long before Dr. Murray came on the scene. So when he was hired, I think he was somewhat shocked that Michael was dependent on propofol to sleep.
And then all of a sudden, towards the end, it got better.
In court, they showed 2 of the last performances Michael Jackson ever did. One of them was The Way You Make Me Feel. This was 2 nights before his death, and it was great. It really reinforced everyone's confidence that we're going to make these shows happen.
One more time.
And then the next night, the one that will really make you cry, is the last song he sang, the Earth Song.
Did you ever stop to notice all the children dead from war? And did you ever stop to notice this crying earth as we make sure?
He was in good spirits. He said goodbye to the crew, to the staff. He headed home.